Welcome back, guys. Week 6 of our season is in the books, and we have picked up another division win, taking down the Rams on the road. Before we get started, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications down below, and let's get straight into talking about what happened in our last game. We departed Inglewood, California with a massive 27-10 victory in which our defense continued to make stop after stop to force punts from LA, and they simply had no answer for our passing attack. But let's start with their pass game. Matthew Stafford got a lot of yards in garbage time to inflate his stat sheet, but for the most part, he had nowhere to go with the football. He made some impressive throws you expect from a guy with his arm talent, but we locked down most of his targets and forced him into 2 interceptions, which we will get to in a bit. The main guy he kept going to when he would connect was his favorite receiver, Cooper Kupp. He finished with a phenomenal 13 catches for a $111, and he was the most reliable thing for this offense the entire day. When we focused on Kupp, they shifted their game plan to target Van Jefferson, and boy did he make it worthwhile. As a number 2 guy, he finished with over 70 yards on the day and their only touchdown as well. And the highlight play of this offense was most definitely this play from Tyler Higbee, where Budda Baker tried to make a play on the ball, but when he couldn't get to it, he gave him a massive lane down the sideline to come away with a 64-yard reception. Before we leave their offense, we need to discuss their run game. We saw very clearly that this is a pass-first team, but Cam Akers finished with a solid day, just under 60 yards with 3.7 a carry. I would not be at all surprised if they tried to go to him a bit more next week. Now, holding them to 10 points was a result of an incredible defensive effort, and our best guy on the day was the rookie corner, Garrett Williams. He finished with double-digit tackles, 2 of them going for a loss, with one of them being a sack in which he combined with Farrell to drop Stafford very late to close out the game. But we didn't have to wait till the end of the game for the sacks to come, as on the initial drive of the game, Bryce Huff, the man who was recently signed to a big-time extension, got to Stafford to get the sack and force the punt to start the day. The defense didn't want to leave the scoring to the offense, as after LA came up with an impressive goal line stand, their offense was forced to come out on the 1, and Rashard Lawrence got to Akers in the end zone to force the illustrious safety. But the pressure continued to get to Stafford over the course of the game, forcing the earlier discussed interceptions. One of them went to Jalen Thompson. Just a poor read in the red zone. Stafford never sees him as he throws, and Thompson made the easy play to bring it in and secure the pick. And the other turned out to be the defensive play of the game, as during the second quarter, Marco Wilson, a guy who has stepped up in a big way this year, not only came away with the pick, but returned it back 57 yards for the touchdown to put them up 17. Now, our defense wasn't the only one to have a star show out, as their defensive leader, Aaron Donald, was a major disruption to the run game, and he brought some pressure on McCoy as he came away with a sack as well. And he wasn't the only one to get home, as Tay Crowder made his presence felt during the second quarter when he came in untouched up the middle and he sent down McCoy for the sack. And their third came as we neared the end of the half. As we were thinking about taking a chance at some more points, it was Andrew Van Ginkel who got home to drop us for the sack and force us to settle for nothing. This dominance in the trenches did cause our run game to struggle mightily, as James Conner and Corey Clement combined for a mere 41 yards on the day. But Conner got a consolation prize in the fourth quarter. He punched in a short yardage touchdown to give us the chance to go for 2 and go up 3 scores. But the big story of the day was how we were airing the ball out all day. And good thing our deep ball was working well, because Colt McCoy only connected on 15 of his passes. But when we did connect, it was well worth it. One of the main targets was Michael Wilson. The rookie, drive after drive, came away with the first down grabs, keeping his team moving when they needed, and they tried to repay him for his efforts by getting him some extra targets in garbage time, but they couldn't connect late. Another guy who had a solid day and has honestly put together a very solid year is Trey McBride. He continues to do well on these underneath crossing routes, but he showed with this play that he can also go up and use that 6'4" frame to rip balls away from defenders. But the star of the show today was Hollywood Brown. He was coming away with deep shot after deep shot, as with just 5 receptions, he finished with over 150 yards, and he got himself a touchdown as well to cap off his day. And after that dominant performance, we got a text from Hollywood, and he said, "What did I tell you?" He said he was one of the best players on this team, and he thinks he proved it out there today. Keep feeding him that ball, and with that, he received superstar development, which is massive for his future on this team. And along with that, he earned 2,000 XP as well. With that dev trait upgrade, he has earned himself superstar abilities. So with 3 slots to choose, we went with mid and elite, having him catch balls more consistently 10 to 20 yards downfield in between the numbers. Grab and go. After securing a rat catch, he can quickly shift momentum, change direction, and turn the corner without sacrificing speed. And reach for it, which will have him frequently attempt to reach for extra yards. After that, we spoke to Michael Wilson in the locker room, and he said he knew the plan was for him to have a big game, and that didn't happen. But he told us not to sweat it. The team comes first, and he understands that. We told him it takes a lot to put your personal success aside for the team. He's a great player to keep finding ways to lead this group. What a perfect response from our rookie receiver. This is a guy we can make our physical receiver for years to come. And to wrap up the game day, we had our post-game press conference, and we said a lot of coaches like to say to only celebrate a win or sulk over a loss for 24 hours. But when you beat one of your most hated rivals, we think it's okay to spend an extra 24 basking in that glory. And with that, the entire team earned 2,500 XP, which will be huge for this team's development. Now, while I was looking over contracts as we considered our negotiations for contract extensions, I realized our 2023 cap penalty flew up to $56.3 million. And when I searched to find out why, I found out that since I had placed Kyler Murray as a second punter to simulate the injury, and we did not have 2 healthy D tackles on the roster, the game decided to automatically cut Kyler Murray and signed a free agent D tackle. So unfortunately, I now have to work around the game, and that means I will put Murray back on the roster, I will leave him on a minimum for this year, adjust one of our 1-year contracts to supplement the lost cap, and I will fix the contract value for the following years accordingly. It's quite annoying, but we can definitely make it work. After overcoming that, we can actually discuss our contract negotiations for extensions, and we start by going back to Hollywood Brown. He is coming off a huge game, he is now a superstar, and he's having the best season of his career thus far. And we now, more than ever, want to bring him back. So we switched up the approach, offering him a 5-year deal worth $80 million, averaging $8.3 million a year in salary, and he did not accept. But he did tell us he was looking for a better fit, but he'll reconsider with more offers like this. Next up was our return to Isaiah Simmons. He is just such an interesting situation, already at 25 years old, extremely versatile. We end up offering him a 3-year deal worth $20.7 million, averaging $4.1 million a year in salary, and he was not happy, telling us the team doesn't have what he's looking for, and with that money, he wouldn't reconsider, going to have to do some serious work to keep him around. That would finish our negotiations for the week, and it was now time to take a look at the news headlines around the league for this week. A week with not a lot to talk about, if we're being honest. The main story of the week was that Josh Jacobs had a huge part of coming away with a win against the Patriots as he ran all over this Bill Belichick defense, finishing with over 160 yards on the day. And the story that has taken the world by storm is Hollywood Brown's breakout. And the story that has taken the world by storm is Hollywood Brown's breakout performance. And the Cardinals social media team may have described it best, lightning in a bottle. But now is the time. We can now look forward to our final road division game on the year as we will head to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. One of the most interesting teams in the league, as they are not one of the most hyped squads, but they are a very solid unit. They got off to one of the hottest starts in the league, going 4-0 before going into the bye, but they are reeling off a blowout loss to Cincinnati in which they put up 5 touchdowns. 3 from Burrow and 2 from Mixon. But now, let's talk about the stars we have to watch out for. And the main threat of this offense is DK Metcalf, one of the most freakish athletes in the league. He is one of those guys where if you need a play, you just throw it up to him and watch him make one. One of the most interesting players on this team is running back Kenneth Walker. A second-round pick a year ago, he ran for 1,000 yards his rookie year, and he is not looking to slow down going into year 2, and he has a very bright future ahead of him. The captain of their defensive unit is Bobby Wagner, a Hall of Fame linebacker when it's all said and done, an 8-time Pro Bowler, a 6-time All-Pro, a Super Bowl champion, and returning home after his 1-year stint in LA at 33 years of age. He looks like he's nowhere close to slowing down. And behind him is yet another hard-hitting defender, safety Jamal Adams. He got less than a game of playing time a year ago as he ended up tearing his quad week 1 against the Broncos, and he's looking to bounce back in his 4th year as a Seahawk. Now that we know who we're going up against, it's now time for us to set the game plan for our upcoming matchup. Starting on defense, Geno Smith is a very solid quarterback in this league, and with 2 great receivers in Metcalf and Lockett, our focus is going to be to defend the medium pass. We're going to try to hold them to short gains through the air and let our defense try to make plays on the ball. Switching to the offensive side, we're going to focus on keeping our throws short. This is a menacing defense able to hit with a lot of power, and I would rather us get the ball out quickly to our guys and allow them to create their own space and avoid the hits. Before we set our goals for the week, we got a text from Clellan Farrell, and he said, "We still haven't given him props for his game last week. He was out there making tackles, forcing fumbles, intimidating QBs. It was one of his best games yet. He wants to be one of those guys who can do that every single week, and he's ready to take the next step. So let's bring it to the Seahawks this week." And with that, we decided his goal would be to hold the Seahawks to less than 100 rushing yards, or for him to get at least 1 interception, forced fumble, TFL, or a sack. After that, Michael Wilson sat down with us once more, and he said Hollywood took over last game, and he could not be stopped. And he asked if we were ready to see him go off like that today. We responded by saying he has the potential and the talent to take over a game just like that. It's a matter of being on top of your game for all 4 quarters. And he said, it's time to put on a show then. If we call his number, we won't regret it. He is ready to have a huge day. And we said that's perfect. The more guys making plays, the more it boosts the confidence of this entire offense and helps everyone contribute. And with that, Hollywood Brown earned another 2,500 XP for inspiring Wilson, and we decided Wilson's goal for the week would be to get over 150 receiving yards, a second opportunity at a breakout in just as many weeks as for the rookie. And with that, we are ready to finalize our list of goals for the week. Following the 2 previous, we want to keep them under 200 yards on the day. Against a great defense, we have to step up with our own great defense and make this a game where the offense is not taking over. Next, we want to pick up 300 offensive yards. This may be Wilson's last chance in the year for a breakout, and we need to capitalize, and to do that, we need to put up some big yards, not just with him, but the entire team as well. After that, we want to keep them under 21 points. Like we talked about earlier, this will be the clash of 2 of the top defenses in the NFL. And with that in mind, we need to step up to the plate and keep them under 3 scores to have a chance in this one. And lastly, we want to sack Geno Smith 5 times this week. He is a veteran in this league, capable of making some great throws, and our only option of shutting down their passing game may very well be winning off the line and getting home to drive them backwards. We then finished up practice for the week, and we have no additional injuries for us or Seattle, which is a good thing for both of us. But we ended up seeing a lot of development from a lot of key players. We start with our superstar safety, Budda Baker. One of the best in the league, he's done a great job leading this team, and he further improved this week in block shedding, hit power, play rec, pursuit, and tackling. Next up was our brand new superstar receiver, Hollywood Brown. Coming off an incredible game and off to a good start to what it looks like to be his best season, he further improved in his short and medium route running and his catching in traffic. We then moved to the older side of this team as we recognized our near 33-year-old tight end, Zach Ertz. He has taken a bit of a backseat this year to allow McBride to get some more touches, but he's been essential to the young man's growth, and this time it was Ertz who grew in his pass blocking, his run blocking, and specifically his run blocking against finesse and power moves. We then move on to our hybrid safety, Isaiah Simmons. He has such a unique skill set, and we love using him as a sub linebacker this year, and he improved this week in his agility, man, and zone coverages. After him is one of our breakout guys on this defense, Zaven Collins. He made himself known coming as a cover linebacker when we sent Ojulari into rush, and he has continued to evolve, overtaking Kaiser White for the starting middle linebacker role, and he improved in his awareness, play rec, strength, tackling, and zone coverage. We stay within the linebacking core, moving to our second round pick, BJ Ojulari. He had a very good return game coming off his upper arm fracture, and this week he focused on improving his run stopping skills as he further developed his block shedding and tackling. And lastly, we then moved to the man who came away with a pick 6 this past game, Marco Wilson. He has really stepped up as our number 1 corner in his 3rd year, and he further develops his awareness and his man coverages. And our final thing to discuss for today, our first round pick, Paris Johnson Jr., has played enough snaps, and we now know he has star development. Nothing too crazy, but it is very nice to see where he stands thus far. And with that, we have talked about everything we have needed to for this news episode. If you guys enjoyed, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications down below, and I will catch you all next time as we head into Seattle to take on the Seahawks.